That was the NYPD, huh? They didn't even use their sirens, right? They just drove right in front of you.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They turned it on right at the last.
That's crazy, man. You could have hit that car in front of you, right?
I know.
Ridiculous.
He almost hit them.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, no sirens or nothing. Not anymore. You just, you know.
And then he would be wrong too.
I'm telling you. They caused the accident, they will blame the person that ran into them. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy the shit that they think they can get away with it, right? You know, it's going to get worse because, you know, Trump is in office and they got that white supremacist as the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Yeah, the dude had there's pictures of him, you know, in his he got white supremacist tattoos.
Yeah?
On his body, yeah. Okay, how you people don't know that? In his arm and his chest. Yeah, you got the German cross all over his chest and all that shit. Come on, man. You know why? People don't really understand what's going on, do they? Listen, it's a takeover. It's a takeover, and they started at the bottom first. They started at the bottom first. It's like Jeffrey Epstein, how they compromise everybody. Yeah. They started compromising people at the bottom. All these senators and Congress, they're all compromised. Right? Mossad, Israel, right? The Jewish community, particularly these police officers in this precinct that are Jewish and white, and they're racist. They've been operating like this in our community for decades.
Oh yeah, I know that. The Jews.
For decades. They got command centers, they got every damn thing. Yeah, there's more than that. Listen, man, they got brand new vehicles that look like police vehicles.
Yeah.
Better looking than the New York Predator Department vehicles.
I saw them on Eastern Park when I was with the 43. I thought it was a cop car.
Right. Now, how is it that, if you paint your car like a cop car, they're arresting your ass.
Yeah,
but how is it that they can do shit like that, right? And have sirens on the top of it too.
And the sirens on the top of it
ridiculous.
too.
All right, my brother, thank you. See? Red vehicle, and you see right here, another red vehicle. Tell you, that's the New York Predator Department. They showed up. But I was on my other phone checking the bus schedule to see what time this other bus is coming. And so they waited. Like I said, they hacked into my phone, so they waited. And you know, as the bus was crossing over the intersection, there was a car in front of it, and they just all of a sudden just appeared and turned on their lights, right? They turned on those sirens, almost crashed into another red vehicle going on there. Almost, look. I'm gonna miss that bus. I'm not even gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna miss that bus. I can't even run for that bus. Shit. You know, again, I don't want to chance it. I'm not doing it. You know, I'd rather the bus go. I'm not injuring myself. You know, but as I was saying, right? This is what they do. And again, because I was not able to record it, I wanted to talk to the bus driver, you know, and ask him, you know. And so you guys heard what he said. They literally almost caused a crash, and the bus driver could have crashed into the car in front of him. You know what I'm saying? Because he stepped on that brakes pretty hard, and I looked up. I see the New York Predator Department using it, you know, going across the intersection with their lights flashing. I'm like, what the hell is this? You know, these people are ridiculous, man. These people are ridiculous. You know, the shit that they do and how they get away with it. And hacking my phones, I should say. Right? And then you see as the bus was going on this route, there was a New York Predator Department vehicle parked up on the opposite side of the street, right? And you had all these vehicles parked up in the bus stop, right? How come they're not over there telling these people you can't park in the bus stop? How come they're not doing that? Again, I want to show you guys how they have selective targeting in what they do. They engage in selective targeting. All right? But like I said, I'm going to expose their ass. Now, Alba sent me a text about a show on CBS about the CIA and the episode aired in 2023. And in that episode, it was an episode in which someone had a handheld directed energy device, right? And they beamed it into the CIA office, and everybody just fell to the floor, started having convulsion, nosebleed, and everything like that. And come to find out, that's exactly what we did in Venezuela, right? So it's pretty damn interesting how these things are coming out. You know what I'm saying? And we as TIs, we've been trying to figure out what's going on. A lot of us already knew, a couple years into our targeting exactly what was happening to us, right? The directed energy weapons. But a lot of TIs will solely focus on the directed energy weapons part. And I knew that, there isn't going to be a lot of information other than what we find in the declassified documents, right? That talks about Russia offensive weapons, and how the FBI wanted to use the Russian mind control device on David Koresh in the 1990s. Right? They were seriously contemplating about using it, but decided not to because of the psychological damage. They couldn't guarantee that it wouldn't cause any sort of psychological damage or cognitive and physical damage, so they never used it on Koresh. At least that's what they say. That's what they claim. Right? But I talk about what's her name? Cynthia McKinney? Not McKinley, not this who once was Congresswoman. It's Cynthia McKinley or something like that. Cynthia McKinley, who was a CIA analyst, right? And in the late 1980s, she was getting reports of directed energy being used on American citizens, and she worked for the NSA as an analyst. And when she said that she reported all these incidents, she's like she knew a little bit about the research into directed energy weapons, and she went to her superiors, and I'm gonna see if I can find the article, the letter that she wrote. Right? I think I did a video on it already. I can't exactly remember when I did it, but I think I did a video on it already, right? And she talked about how when she went to her superiors, they told her to do not look into it. But she said that she was receiving so much calls that she had to. And she said that as soon as she reported to her superiors, right? And she was pushing the subject. Again, a lot of red vehicles. There's another one here, one across the street, and there's one here. See that? All right, 1, 2, 3. See that? See another red one right there. You can always tell when they're using particular colors, all right, in terms of what it is that they do. But anyway, so she said that she became targeted. That she started to see people following her. She had to be very careful. They had covertly drugged her, stuff like that. And so she became a target, and she had to retire. Or at least, she had to leave the NSA. So they've been working on this stuff for a long time, and like I said, just trying to figure out what it is that they do. And here's the thing, too: how many people have been manipulated, right? Who have been the test subjects of these weapons that are currently incarcerated or in a mental institution or have died, right? Because of what it is that they've done to them. Okay, you're looking at a weapon that is perfect to get away with anything. Okay? And so, like I said, when I get home, I gotta look at that episode, and I'm telling you, it's ridiculous, right? It is ridiculous. And then trying to silence us, right? The lies, the manipulation, so forth. Like I said, when my brother became a target, my twin became a target, and I became a target. Because one of the things that they do is that they don't want you to expose what it is that they're doing. And so they will start to target your family. If you have children, your children. If you have, your family, your relatives, your sisters, your brothers, what have you. and what they'll do, they'll try to manipulate you and manipulate them to go against each other, right? So once they can cause the division within the family, then they know that way they can isolate you. That way they can get family members to engage in targeting you, like poisoning you and stuff like that. Like stealing from you and stuff like that, right? This is what they do. Right? And I said stealing from you, NY Predators probably use a siren. Yeah. Right? They've stolen thousands of dollars worth of jewelry from me, watches from me. When I was working, I used to love watch. I mean, like any young man, any young black man, you working, you one of the hobbies that you have as a young man is that you collect watches. And I'm talking about over the years. This is an accumulation of over a decade, right? Of me buying watches, the jewelry that I had, you know what I'm saying? Not too expensive, just a chain and a diamond crusted cross, right? That's the time when I used to be a nigga peon, right? So you know what I'm saying? And the first thing I did when I was like, you know what, I'm not following this shit no more, was that I took that cross off and I had it in my drawer, my ammo. And I went to look for it because I wanted to, sell it, take it to the pawn shop, what have you. And it was gone. It was gone. I still had the chain though. The chain was around my neck, And at the time too, because they were doing things. They were like, they were stealing from me. You know what I'm saying? And so they were, literally. It's like sometimes I remember, man, you walk and you're like, you have no sense of direction because these people are pulling you left and right. All right, so you really like the term, like people say, you walk around like a chicken without a head. Yeah, that's what it felt like, because you have no control over your thoughts and your sense of direction because they're manipulating you and they're controlling you. All right, so that was when I started noticing that. That was when I started focusing on the more psychological aspect of that. So when I used to get onto FSCHS, I used to talk about that, but all I want to talk about was the direct energy part of it. So I started doing my own podcast on TalkShoe that talked about the psychological aspect of what it is that they're doing, because we tend to not want to understand that these are direct energy weapons, but they affect our psychology, they affect our cognitive skills, they affect us. They affect, right? Not affect, but they affect our psychology. They affect our neurology, right? Our cognitive ability. They affect us physically, like being hit with vibrational acoustic weapons, right? To damage your skeleton frames, to damage your organs. You know what I'm saying? Even to give you a brain aneurysm. When I was reading about how Dr. Khalid Muhammad died, I said, yeah, they targeted him with direct energy weapons and they gave him a brain aneurysm. Right? And they are weapons, these weapons can do that. Okay? These weapons can certainly do that. Alright? So it is something that they have denied, they've lied about, but the truth is coming out. And when we as TIs, they used to make us believe that, it was Russia or another red people. Yeah. I see you coming over here, buddy. I see you coming over here. Right? Another one. You see a lot of red vehicles. Look. Across the street. I didn't realize that, didn't I have it like this before? I think I had it like this before. I don't know what happened though. Anyway, I guess they didn't, when it's like this, you can't really see the color, right? Because it's dark, right? But now you can see, right? But yeah, they were lying about these weapons existed. That's why when the diplomats got hit first in Cuba, actually they even before that, I found out that it was an FBI agent who in the early 2000s, look, wearing red again, see that? A lot of reds, and it's not a coincidence. All right, let me finish what I was saying before I forget. Because usually when they start talking like this, I usually forget a lot of shit. But anyway, so there was an FBI agent who came forward, or was a CIA agent who came forward in the early 2000s. And they called him, they said that he had a mental illness, that he was, crazy and delusional, and he had to go on disability. They put him on permanent disability. Okay? right? And what do you see here? The red umbrella, the red bag, right? There you go. Red umbrella, red bag. Look. And he ain't even waiting for the light to change. He just walked across there like, yeah. Anyway, my bus is here. But yeah. Right? So they were lying, man. They were lying. And I'm going to continue to expose them no matter what. Okay? Like I said, it's my purpose. Oh, number 3 too. There you go. Thank you.